Wild and Wacky Wednesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Wade Neely. We are coming to you from the Lee Company studios of our respective abodes, and it's been wild and wacky all day because, as we mentioned yesterday, that we were going to be coming to you from the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame down at Bridgestone Arena. Well, that did not materialize in I guess an overabundance of caution relative to predicted inclement weather. So we decided to hunker down and stay weather aware, as Bree Smith likes to refer to it on News Channel 5. So we are with you from our homes for the next couple of hours and dealing with, at least in one case, a little iffy whiffy wait. So we will see how things go. Wade, I think you're muted.
It is wild and wacky Wednesday after all. You're right, Mo. And obviously we had hoped to be downtown today, and we planned a pretty picnic, and we couldn't predict the weather, unfortunately. Things looking a little yucky, looking a little ominous. And this is the crappy part about Tennessee weather. You think you have it figured out, you have no idea. And it seems like over last weekend, it looked like there was severe weather coming in. Some places got it, some places didn't. And then days when you think it's going to be crystal clear, that's when some pop-up showers come. So who knows? One thing is for sure, pumped to be here for the next couple hours, and then we'll see what the night has for us in terms of local sports action.
Absolutely. I'm aware of at least one postponement, and I'm sure that there are others out there that we will be touching on here in a few minutes. But over the next couple of hours, we are set to visit in the second hour with MAREN ANGUS COOMBS, our college softball analyst, as we take a look at the SEC tournament. And they are finally one game into today's schedule after a 14-inning marathon between LSU and Alabama. We'll talk a little bit about that with MAREN when we get her on around 3:20. But SEC tournament started yesterday officially down at Auburn, and they are moving through that bracket, as we speak. In the next segment, it's Wednesday, so we'll be speaking with our NASCAR analyst, Heather Williams of WCYB TV out of Johnson City. We talked about a couple of photo finishes over the weekend. Well, one of them took place out in Kansas, the closest finish in Cup history. So we'll be talking to Heather about that and about this weekend's events over at Darlington as well. Also a little Braves, a little Astros, not a lot, Wade, just a little Astros, and
tiny bit of Astros.
Yeah, other Major League Baseball happenings, and couple of items out of the WNBA over the last 24 hours that we kind of want to touch on, both pretty significant. So we will get to those as we progress again through the next couple of hours. We'll be with you from 2 to 4. So Wade, let's go ahead and get started in the show with yesterday's results and today's schedule on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
All right, folks, let's get the party started. The rundown begins, as always, with scores from yesterday. Here are our baseball finals from Tuesday night. Columbia Academy picked up a 3-1 win versus Clarksville Academy. It was Friendship Christian 5, Good Pasture 3. Nolensville knocked off Summit 12-6. Zion Christian defeated Clarksville Christian 9-4. Softball action from yesterday. Mount Juliet was a 10-8 winner versus Beach. Beach following up, however, with a 13-1 victory versus Hendersonville. Blackman 8, Riverdale 5. It was Columbia defeating Warren County 3-2. Culleoka with a 9-2 win versus Santa Fe. Green Hill with a nail-biter A lot of runs scored, but it was a close game, folks. Green Hill 14, Mount Juliet 13. Eagleville survives an upset bid from Huntland 9-8. Your final there. Summertown defeats Loretto 5-1. It was Macon County 8-7 over White House. Richland defeats Cornersville 5-1. It was Oakland falling to Siegel 4-0. Smyrna 14, Cookeville 4. Stewart's Creek defeats Lebanon 11-1. And Summertown second score. Not sure if there were 2 games played, but we had a second score at least. But in case you missed it earlier, if there was only one, it was Summertown 5, Loretto 1.
Boys soccer action from Tuesday Beach with a 7-1 win over Green Hill. Cookeville down Wilson Central 1-0. It was Hendersonville 3, Mount Juliet 0. Shutouts abounding in boys soccer. Antioch with a 2-0 win over Hillsborough. It was Overton 5, Hunters Lane 1. Lebanon 1, Laverne nothing. Siegel 4, Oakland nothing, and Blackman 3-2 over Rockvale. Major League Baseball action yesterday. The New York Yankees opened their series at home against the Houston Astros with a 10-3 victory. We'll talk more about that later in the show. And the Braves bounced back from that putrid West Coast trip with a 4-2 victory over the Red Sox at Truist Park. As we mentioned yesterday, the Sounds defeated Durham 9-8 in 10 innings in a morning affair yesterday, but we'll give that to you again.
A little breakfast in baseball yesterday,
Breakfast
right?
with the Sounds, exactly. Yeah.
Can't beat it. Good win for Nashville yesterday. Baseball schedule for today, blank.
None.
Unless we're missing some. Yeah, most of your tournaments, if not all, should be done by now as they get ready for region play.
Now I will tell you this. Columbia Academy was scheduled to play at Friendship Christian at 6 today in Division 2A play. That game has been pushed to tomorrow, same time over in Lebanon. So
good call there. So baseball is nil today. No baseball to be played, but we do have some softball games. Bounce around the horn with me, folks. At 7 o'clock tonight, you have Oakland at Blackman. 5 p.m. tonight, we're scheduled Coffee County versus Columbia. Also at 5, Culleoka versus Cornersville. At 4:30, we're scheduled to have McGavock versus at John Overton. At 5 p.m. tonight, Beach versus Mount Juliet and Cookeville versus Stewart's Creek. Start time unknown to us tonight is Greenbrier versus Macon County. And at 5:30, weather permitting here in Pulaski, yours truly and Mark Mives will bring you live play-by-play coverage on Pulaski Citizen Live. Giles County and Lawrence County in an elimination contest in the District 8 AAA tournament. No boys soccer.
Go home action, huh?
Yep. Loser leaves town match between those two rivals here in P-Town tonight. Boys soccer is off tonight, but a lot of your district championships will pick back up tomorrow. With that being said, Major League Baseball schedule for tonight. On Amazon Prime at 6:05, you can catch the Astros and Yankees game number 2 in the Bronx. You can also see at 6:20 tonight on Bally Sports South, the Red Sox at the Braves. Mo mentioned the Sounds a moment ago, continuing their stretch at Durham. First pitch in that contest this evening is set for 5:35, and as short as it is,
hey Wade, hold up, don't close
sir.
it yet, because there is one soccer match tonight, 8 o'clock at Siegel, to my understanding. Columbia Central and Coffee County are playing. I think they were supposed to play last night or something, but that game is currently scheduled, as far as I know, for 8 o'clock tonight at Siegel. I'm sure that's a weather-related issue as well, but yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Get it in, and then hopefully weather holding off, and we can get the full match in that one tonight. So with that addition, that, ladies and gentlemen, is a bow. That concludes today's rundown.
Your top story brought to you, as always, by Piggly Wiggly and Neely's Mill here in Columbia. Be sure and check out their delicious daily deli lunch items, as well as their hand-cut meats, and everything is cost plus 10% at the cash register. Piggly Wiggly, Neely's Mill, Columbia, bringing you our top story. And today's top story, well, we've got a couple. One, the Tennessee Sports Writers Association's weekly college pitchers and players of the week in baseball and softball. Austin P sweeps baseball honors. Harrison Brown went 9 for 18 at the plate, drove in 7 runs, scored 6. He started the week with okay, I'm reading here, so don't shoot the messenger. He started the week with an Austin Peay record 11 RBIs in the team's 35-1 win over Alabama A&M, topping the single game record set in 71. Finished 5 for 6 in that game. Drove in 2 more runs against Stetson, 2 more in the second game against Stetson, and another pair in Sunday's finals. So maybe that's 17 RBI on the week. That sounds mathematically more
feasible,
more in line, yeah, based on that game by game breakdown. So Harrison Brown of Austin Peay is your baseball hitter of the week from the TSWA. The pitcher, also from the Govs, little CCCHS love, Centennial graduate Solomon Washington, came out of the bullpen in game 2 against Stetson, limited the Hatters to 1 run on 4 hits over 3 innings, finished the week with a 1 ERA, struck out 10. So Solomon Washington, pitcher of the week for Austin Peay. On the softball diamond, Maryville swept both awards. Becca Williams named player of the week. Megan Ackerman named pitcher of the week. Williams hit .471 with a couple of doubles, a triple, scored 7 runs, drove in 5, had the game winner in Maryville's 6-3 13-inning win over Belhaven. Ackerman was named the CCS tournament's most outstanding player through 3 complete game victories in 3 days, compiling a 2.59 ERA through 198 pitches in 13 innings against Belhaven. Came back and got the 4-2 victory over Piedmont, and then another complete game championship victory. So again, Megan Ackerman and Brecca, Brecca, Williams from Maryville, earning TSWA Player of the Week and Pitcher of the Week honors. Congrats to all 4. Speaking of softball, Trevecca will host the Division II Softball Midwest Region tournament this weekend. They are Midwest Region Site 2. It's a 4-team event that will start on Thursday. The Lady Trojans will open against conference rival Northwood at 12 noon, followed by Ohio Dominican and Grand Valley State in the late game on Friday. There will then be 3 games. I'm sorry, those were the 2 Thursday games. 3 games on Friday, 11, 1:30, and 4. And the tournament will wrap up with championship play on Saturday at 1. So Trevecca was the regular season champion in the GMAC, the Great Midwest Athletic Conference. And there's 2 other teams from their conference. Northwood is the auto bid participant from the GMAC, having won the postseason tournament. Ohio Dominican won last year's regular season title in the GMAC, and Grand Valley comes out of the Great Lakes Conference. So I'm not sure where the winner advances, but you got a 4-team regional taking place this weekend down at Trevecca. So if you want to see some good Division II softball, go check that out. It should be fun.
Good job by them putting themselves in position, of course, to host that regional. And Trevecca's had some good teams, especially in softball the last decade plus. A couple young ladies from Giles County have pitched there over the years, and so kind of have kept tabs on them. So they're no strangers to being in the mix in postseason. I'll be keeping tabs on them heading into this weekend as well.
43-13 are the Lady Trojans going into this weekend's play. And you mentioned a couple of kids from Giles County. they have built this thing on local players pretty much as you go scrolling through their roster. And there's one young lady I'm looking for in particular because I think Kalioka had someone down there. It doesn't look as if she's still there. I'm not seeing her on the roster at this point. But yeah, lot of Middle Tennessee flavor in that program. So great job on their part. As we have a little time before break, one other, and it kind of fits as top story. There's a new Tennessee high school single season stolen base leader, and her name is Savia Morgan, the Columbia Central senior with 3 steals in the Lady Lions 3-2 district tournament win last night against Warren County, surpassed former beach standout Heather Montgomery. Savia now has 74 stolen bases on 74 tries.
Whoo!
Yeah. So she when she's on first, she's on third, basically. As mentioned in the article from Tuesday night's game where they played Spring Hill, basically the only way to slow her down on the bases is have somebody on in front of her. So 74 of 74 on this year, and that makes her, Wade, 125 of 126 over the last 2 years.
Holy smokes, man.
Yeah. And in fact, I was almost scared to go to the game Tuesday against Spring Hill because the one game she got thrown out last year, I was there. So, yeah.
I mean, that is Ricky Henderson would take a bow at those numbers because, man, that is like you said, you get on first, bye-bye. Just go ahead and just might as well put her on third.
Yeah.
She's getting there whether you want her there or not, right?
Yeah. Yes. And I mean, she is a speed merchant. If you've had the chance to see her play basketball, it shows off there as well. She's again, a Lady Vol signee. She will be in Knoxville next year, helping fortify the perennial Women's College World Series challengers, Lady Vols. So coming soon to a college campus near you is Savia Morgan with her 74 for 74 Tennessee high school single season record in steals. So let's go ahead now and go to that break from the Lee Company Studios on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. And when we come back, we should be joined by Heather Williams talking a little NASCAR. Stay with us after the break.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you. No matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Wild and Wacky Wednesday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton, along with Wade Neely, as we come to you from the Lee Company studios of our respective abodes, and we are joined now by our NASCAR analyst, Heather Williams of WCYB TV out of Johnson City. Heather, good afternoon.
Hello, gentlemen. How's your weird
Heather.
and wacky Wednesday going?
Wild and wacky.
Wild and wacky.
Wild and wacky. There we
And
go.
weird.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's been all of that today.
Weather and Wacky Wednesday.
Yeah, here too, for sure.
Y'all getting it as well?
Yes, we are. Every high school game today has already been canceled.
Well, at least they canceled them early enough that you could, plan.
Yes.
So.
Well, I mean, I anticipated this at 9 o'clock this morning. They could have gone ahead and did it then too. It'd been fine.
I hear you. Heather, we talked earlier this week about the finish out at Kansas and kind of your quote home track or your second home track, maybe. I know you were a little disappointed to have missed that one, I imagine.
Yeah, well, especially with the finish they had. But yeah, I always I go home for a week around this time of year. It just didn't work out that I was there for the race this time. But I mean, I actually witnessed the closest finish in NASCAR history, one of them, because there were two races that were actually tied for the closest finish. I witnessed the one at Talladega between Clint Boyer and Jimmy Johnson. I was at that race, and to see something like that in person, it's crazy. And so I can only imagine what it was like, because especially here, because the Jimmy Johnson Clint Boyer time and scoring was correct, and so immediately the right winner was up on the board. But because timing and scoring was off, and there's a reason for that. They do the timing and scoring based on timing loops where the transporters are in the your transmission is in the cars. Everybody puts them in a little bit different spot in the car. But initially the 17 team thought that they had won, and then the 5 won. And so just watching them celebrate and then be like, oh my God. And then see the 5 be like, oh, dang it, we lost. And then they're like, oh my God. I mean, just the emotion of all that was crazy. I mean, it was just, I was screaming in my apartment at the end of that finish because it was so unbelievable. I can't even imagine there could ever be anything closer. But now you got people talking about what happens if there's a tie, like if they're, .0000, and they're tied. And there is actually, a fallback for that. It's laps led. And then if that's tied, then they go to numbered laps in second place and all that kind of stuff. So it's wild, everything that happened with that finish.
Heather, I was literally going to ask 2 dumb questions, and one of them was going to be, could there be a technical tie? And then number 2 is, this is electronically done, so I assume you couldn't just go to infinity. There would at some point be a technical tie. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the way that they determined this was they have high-speed cameras, because that shot you showed, that's the broadcast, and that's not actually what they use to determine who the winner is. There's a laser that shoots across the track that they overlay on this high-speed camera, and I can't remember how many frames per second it shoots, but I think they said maybe 5 or 6 frames per second where they're just constantly, and so they just take the moment that they cross the finish line and then overlay that laser on there, and that's how they determine who got to the finish line first.
Pretty high tech.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about.
Yeah,
it's the same technology they use for the Derby. I see in our little private chat here, they said closer than Kentucky Derby. It's actually the exact same technology that they use for the Kentucky Derby to do those pictures. Just the cameras obviously taking pictures at a much higher rate because race cars go faster than horses. So, but it's the same thing.
Well, the system certainly got tested this weekend, I guess.
Yes, it did. Go ahead.
No. I was just going to ask Wade what his other question was.
Well, that was the question: is could there be a tie? And then now that we talk about the Derby, it makes me wonder. NASCAR is prone to really try and put on the most grand production possible. I thought it was awful convenient that just one day after the Derby had the closest finish that NASCAR said, wait a second, we got something even better than that. It was a little convenient, I think, right?
Yeah, as winner Kyle Larson tweeted, "Hold my beer, Kentucky Derby, hold my beer."
Pretty much, right?
But I think no matter when that happened at an intermediate track, that something like that was bound to happen because the racing has been so good at the intermediate tracks this year that you saw Atlanta, which is sort of a hybrid intermediate super speedway, that there was a similar type finish. I think that the next gen car and the way you race these cars and the fact you really have to wait till the end and then going into that final straightaway and turn in straightaway, kind of dive it in there and go for it. You're going to see more finishes like that on the bigger tracks. That's just the way this car races now because it's so hard to pass. You get one shot, everybody's waiting to the end to make that move, and that's going to cause these close finishes.
As you mentioned, Kyle Larson nosed out Chris Buescher for the win at Kansas. Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., and Denny Hamlin rounding out your top 5. And it's pretty much your usual suspects at this point, Heather.
And
all that was missing was William Byron.
Yeah, and he actually had an uncharacteristic, not great day at the super speedway. But you're going to see that, I think, right now, the way the cars are running on the big tracks. You're going to see your usual suspects. It'll be at the road courses in like the drafting tracks and the short tracks where you're going to see, like your Daniel Suarez's pop up. But the way that the next gen is and the way that these teams have figured things out, these 1.5 miles, 2 miles, to 1.25 miles like Darlington tracks, you're going to see the same teams. You're going to see Hendrick. You're going to see Joe Gibbs Racing, and that's going to be it for the most part.
And I guess it kind of broke a little frustration for Larson, who had sat on the pole 3 straight weeks and came up empty.
Yeah, but when you're leading the points, it's really hard to be frustrated, right? I mean, he is up there in the points, and he's run really consistent. When he doesn't win, he's in the top 5 more often than not. So they're just kind of, William Byron's got all the splash with the 3 wins, and obviously Denny Hamlin too. But them and Truex are just kind of quietly putting a consistent season, the kind of season that wins championships, as long as you're getting those points for winning stages and getting some sort of stage points along the way. I think right now that William and Denny and Kyle are the 3 favorites to be in the championship 4, and then whoever the 4th team is to be determined.
There we go. Heather Williams of WCYB TV in Johnson City joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Heather, up next, Darlington.
Oh, the Lady in Black, the track Too Tough to Tame. Great nicknames, great historic track. You know, when you race there, you race right up against the wall. You get what's called the Darlington Stripe, which means, you know, if you race Darlington, you don't have a Darlington Stripe, you probably aren't racing hard enough. Like, you're gonna hit the wall at least once or twice in the race. It's just the way you race, because you have to race so close to the wall there to really make speed around that place. It's throwback weekend. You're going to see a lot of cool old paint schemes, and a lot of teams take pride in their throwbacks. My favorite, it's actually something I'm doing a story on for tomorrow, is on the Truck Series truck of Christian Eckes, who is one of the top drivers in the garage. I think he's second in the points right now. He won Bristol and he won Martinsville already this weekend, or this season. He's going to have on there a guy named Brownie King. And Brownie's from Johnson City, and he ran on the beaches in Daytona, and he also ran in the first Daytona 500. He ran convertibles, which is insane. Yeah, he ran in the convertible class. He also ran some hard tops. He's 90 years old. He's still around, and he was going to get to go to the race this weekend. He always goes to Daytona, but he's been a little under the weather, so he's not going to be able to travel, which is kind of disappointing. But really cool paint scheme, and there's lots of stories about that, about all the different paint schemes woven throughout the garage this weekend, which is really cool. As a history buff, I love that.
You said 90-year-old
Yes.
Brownie King.
90-year-old. The paint scheme is in his honor.
That's
he ran on the beaches. He ran with Lee and Richard Petty. He ran with you know, a lot of guys that aren't still with us anymore. I mean, he's got great stories about running on the beaches and running at different tracks, and a ton of history.
It's hard to imagine, you know, for me, running races on the beaches, but that's I mean, I've seen pictures of it and that kind of thing, and
he tells stories of because the sand and the salt water is so bad, you know, him and his convertible hanging out the side, looking out the side rather than looking through the windshield, because he couldn't see because the windshield was catching so much debris.
That sounds safe.
Oh, well, I mean, they were absolutely nothing that they did back then was safe. I mean, they're wearing leather helmets and open face, you know, and jeans and, you know, garage overalls. I mean, and wingtip shoes. I mean, the sport's come a long way from back in the day and the things that they used to do when they drove cars. I mean, there was a driver named Fonnie Flock Tim Flock, Fonnie was his brother, Tim Flock, that drove with a monkey in his car for several races. Oh yeah, we'll have to get into all this history.
Where was the ASPCA when all that was going on?
Well, it was the 1950s. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Different time. The monkey actually started misbehaving in the middle of a race, and he actually had to make a pit stop to kick the monkey out. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Tim
I would have won
didn't
that
win
race if it wasn't for the monkey.
I'm assuming Tim did not win that race.
No, but he and Jocko Flacco. Jocko was the monkey's name. They won some races together.
Good Lord.
NASCAR,
paint schemes aside, what do you like? Who do you like at Darlington? What are you looking for?
So Darlington's a mean old track, and being a veteran is an absolute advantage at Darlington, because she's tough. I mean, the Lady in Black, the track Too Tough to Tame, the nicknames say what they say. Eric Jones is a guy that you don't talk about a lot normally, but is very good at Darlington. He won there in this fall at the Southern 500 2 seasons ago. He is expected to be back in the car after missing 2 weeks with a back injury. So that 43 car is definitely someone to look at, because he is very good at Darlington. But then you get back to your usual suspects. Andy Hamlin's good at Darlington. Kyle Larson's good at Darlington. Mark Truex is good at Darlington. I mean, the guys with a little bit of age on them, they do better at Darlington, because it takes a while to get your arms around that track.
A little NASCAR business news, I guess, as I'm looking here on NASCAR.com. Michael McDonald set to be in a new car next season.
Yeah,
Michael McDowell. Yes,
not the singer. That'd be awesome.
No. Speaking of craziness, huh?
People do that all the time. And the thing is that if you just say Michael McDonald songs just start popping into my head because it's just so close. A little bit of silly season, as that's what they call the free agent season in NASCAR, and starting super early this year. I mean, May 8th is early for teams to start jockeying around for positions and for drivers. I don't think a lot of people had this on their radar, but you knew that somebody was going into that 71 because Spire got that third charter, and they have a temporary driver. They're loaning that out to Trackhouse this year, but Zane Smith is set to go into a Trackhouse car next year. They're trying to get a third charter for him, and so that is they have that extra charter. There's also a ton of talk and rumors in the garage area about what's going to happen with Stewart-Haas Racing. They do not have any kind of alliance with Ford past this season, and there's some talk that Tony Stewart, that's the Stewart and Stewart-Haas, is looking to divest himself from the team, and that there could be a possible merger between Stewart-Haas and Front Row. That's the team that Michael McDowell came from and currently drives for. So there's a lot of pieces in this, and this seems to be kind of the first, cog of that, because if Front Row is going to merge with Stewart-Haas, and Stewart-Haas is also openly looking to sell some of their charters, even if they don't merge or change titles or anything, they're downsizing. So those drivers are going to need somewhere to go, and they do have an alliance with Front Row. So you could see maybe a Josh Berry or a Ryan Preece in that 34 next year as part of all this. But the first thing that has to happen is there has to be room in that 34. So this is kind of the first cog of what's going to be a crazy, silly season, because all the questions about Stewart-Haas kind of control where this season is going, and there looks like there's going to be big changes in that organization.
So Zane Smith looking as if he will become the third driver for Trackhouse, joining Suarez and Chastain then, is that?
Well, so Trackhouse is looking to obtain a third charter. And a lot of speculation is that we will run the Stewart-Haas charters because they are actively looking to sell it. None of the charters are probably going to be sold until the agreement with the race owners and NASCAR gets signed, because their agreement between what's called the Race Team Alliance, which is the owners, and NASCAR has been up. They've been racing this year without it. That is supposedly going to be settled sometime in the next couple of weeks. And the charter system is a big hang up on this. NASCAR doesn't really like the charters because they're like franchises. They want to have some sort of stake in the charters. And so that's been a big hang up. But the teams don't want to sell the charters because they have value, and the values have gone up. They're selling for multi-million dollars. The charter that Spire bought last year I think they bought it from Live Fast, if I'm not mistaken, went for like $34 million. So obviously they don't want that money just taken from them. There's charters to go away. They just pay good money for that. So you're not going to see charters change hands until that is solved. Once that's solved, then you will probably see Trackhouse get that third charter, maybe even a fourth charter, because they have not only Zane Smith, but they want to get Shane Van Gisbergen into a Cup Series ride next year as well. So you could see Trackhouse go from 2 to 4 teams, but definitely next year they will go from 2 to 3 teams, it looks like.
Okay. All right. Heather Williams, our NASCAR analyst, joining us as she does most every Wednesday here on Main Street Sports Today. Heather, before I let you go, I saw something earlier today. Tell me about the rugby guy
that signed with the Chiefs. I don't know much about him other than he's supposedly really fast, and they think that they've got something in him. I'm really fascinated to see what they are going to do with him. I know they had rookie minicamp, and I didn't really see a lot of what came out of that. But, they signed him before the draft, and it's the Chiefs doing Chief things, trying to find athletes and guys, wherever they can that, are not expensive. Because, when you have Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones and Travis Kelce taking up a big chunk of your roster to try to three-peat, you got to try to find talent in unusual places. And they think this guy can fill some holes for them that they have on the team. So I'm not exact. I think they were going to try him at receiver and maybe at linebacker. But I haven't really seen where they landed on him, what he did this at rookie camp, or where he ended up. But
I would think the transition to pads would be interesting for someone who has not worn pads for that period of time.
Yeah, it would be. But I kind of love it because it just shows that Brett Veach is constantly thinking out of the box to make this team, keep this team successful and to get every ounce of time that they have with Patrick Mahomes. When I think he watched and saw what happened with the Patriots, and they had Tom Brady for a long time, but they would, win 3 or 4 years, and they might have a couple of years where they weren't as good because they didn't have the salary money, and then they make salary cap room, and then they go back up. And I think he's really trying to approach this from a standpoint of sustained success, even if they don't make the Super Bowl every year, at least be in the AFC Championship game, which they've been every year that Patrick Mahomes has been the starter. They've been at least in the AFC Championship game.
There we go. Heather, we appreciate it. We will check in with you next week.
Sounds good.
Thanks. You, Heather.
When we come back here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA of Columbia, talk a little baseball, little Braves. As Wade said, little Astros, very little. But we'll get into that after this break from the Lee Company studio. Stay with us.
That's right, guitars and fast cars right here in Music City. This summer, NASCAR is back at the Nashville Superspeedway. Get your tickets now to watch your favorite driver take on the 1.33 miles of concrete chaos. Visit NashvilleSuperspeedway.com to lock in your spot June 28th through the 30th for the Ally 400 race weekend.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers, putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
May 8th, 2000, John Rocker committed the dreaded walk-off balk to give host Miami a 3-2 victory over the Braves. With Danny Bautista at third base and a 2-out, 2-2 count on Cliff Floyd, Rocker dropped the ball out of his glove while on the rubber. That was this day in Braves history. I cannot think of a worse way to lose a ball game.
I mean, that's got to be, a walk, at least you throw the pitch, maybe it gets away from you. Maybe the ump blows the call. You hit the guy. Maybe you just lose control. But the balk, man, that's tough. And
not just a balk. I mean, not him like twitching his shoulders or anything. He dropped the ball.
I mean, that's all on you, and that's all nerves, right? That's
well, never nervous, John Rocker. Yeah, that's a tough one.
That is the tough, man.
Yeah, I cannot think of a worse way to lose a ball game. If anybody can, let me know, because that's kind of crazy. Braves got a home run from Jared Kelenic, his first of the year, finally. And Ozuna with a big base hit in the 8th as they defeated visiting Boston 4-2, put that West Coast swing behind them. Maybe. We'll see. Lopez wasn't great last night, but got some help from the bullpen. And again, late offense, getting it done. So nice win for Atlanta coming off that 1-5 trip to Seattle and the Dodgers. They play again today at 6:20. Nick Pivetta goes for Boston, 1-1 with an 0.82 ERA. Red Sox been pitching well, apparently. That guy last night had a sub-2 ERA, and this guy here with a sub-1. Chris Sale, 3-1 with a 3.44 ERA, going against his former team tonight as he takes the bump for the Braves. So should be another good one, a chance for the Braves to get the short series sweep here tonight.
Hey, and Mo, and I'm looking up, I'm going to find this here shortly. Yeah. So, what is it? Is Jarren Duran for the Red Sox? He got a triple last night. That's his 6th triple already this season.
That guy can run, man. Goodness gracious, he can run. And he got that triple and got stranded at third.
Man, he has I've got a couple of Red Sox fans, and they've talked about him a lot. And really, it's just once he takes off, you don't see it as much. But there's certain guys, De La Cruz comes to mind, of course. When they see it leave the bat, they're not thinking, hey, I'm standing up at second, calling it a day. They're gunning for third, and it's fun to watch him when it takes off and he thinks he may have 3 bags.
Wade, you're a baseball fan. I'm a baseball fan. Is there anything more exciting than a triple in baseball?
Probably.
Maybe an inside the park home run. Maybe that, but I think that's it. Just watching a guy that can run go for 3.
I would say probably so, which makes the 2015 season for Evan Gattis one of the most head-scratching seasons of all time. My man had 11 triples for the Astros that year, a stat that still defies baseball statisticians to this day. How on earth does that dude have 11 triples? He had in his 6-year career, he had 12 triples. He had 11 in one season. He had one for Atlanta in 2014.
Good Lord. So let me ask you, Wade, 2015 Astros, was that before or after Towles Hill was eliminated from Minute Maid?
Oh, now that's a good question.
Because I think that might explain a little something. But that
could have been the first season, now that you say that. Yeah, that's classic Houston, I guess. Removed in June of 2015.
Mid-season?
Seems like a bit of a head scratcher. I can't recall. I mean, did they have a funeral for it out there? I mean, in the middle of the season?
I don't know if they had a funeral for it, but I can guarantee you opposing outfielders did not attend, or maybe they did attend to make sure it was dead,
Okay, it looks like it was supposed to happen after 15, and it actually didn't happen until after 16.
Okay.
So it was still out there. So yeah, maybe that had a little something to do with it. But my man, was it Oso Blanco? He was scooting back then. 11 triples, got 12 career triples, and he had 11
in 1 year.
In 1 year. That is one of the wilder stats I can recall.
You could win some money with that one.
I mean, and the reason I only really remember it, obviously just being a Houston fan, but is because how crazy that it was. I mean, there's speedsters that don't have 11 triple. And that's the crazy part of it, right? And that's what you were getting to that makes it so exciting. You got to have a little bit of pop in your bat, and you got to have some speed. You can't just, hey, when you get me out there in the beer league softball, I can stroke singles all day long. I'm just a singles guy. I can get on base with the best of them, but I'm not putting them in the gaps and gunning for third. That's not my game. And that's how some of these speedy guys are. They're good at just raking and getting on base at first and maybe stealing second or third. But it takes a unique skill set to club one out and reach it from the batter's box.
Yeah, and like you said, you got to be gunning from step one out of the box too. And you've got to be going for three from the get if you're going to get it. But yeah, that's that Duran, he has a special talent, and Evan Gaddis in his own way was a special talent. But I never would have thought 11 triples for him. That's a nice pull, Mr. Neely. Good job. Your Astros again, they fell behind early. Gave up 3 runs in the first inning up at New York last night, and were down 10-1, I think, before scoring a couple in the 9th. So tough night.
Yep. We talked about Verlander being on the bump yesterday, thinking that might be what the doctor ordered. That was not what the doctor ordered. And Game 2 tonight, they're sitting there 12-23. Yankees basically a complete mirror image at 24-13. It'd be nice to go ahead and get this win tonight so you can maybe salvage 2 out of 3. But it'd be nice to get this win tonight, just assuming you're already going to lose tomorrow. So at least you get one. And, it's rough, Mo, because our owner, Main Street owner, Dave Gould, the first thing he says to me at our Main Street Awards this morning, he's like, ooh, tough loss for the Astros last night. And I'm like, hey, man, come on. I was like, it's early in the morning. I know I'm going to hear about it at 2 o'clock. I was like, just let me be, man. So it's
just getting you ready for it, huh?
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough out here. So last night didn't have much to cheer about. Maybe they'll get a little something going, at least keep it close tonight.
Yeah. Spencer Arrighetti going for the Astros, 0-3 with an 8.27. Be nice to see him kind of work that ERA down a little bit. Carlos Rodon 2-2 with a 3.68 ERA, getting the start for the Yankees in this one. So might be a little more uphill sledding for the Astros here in this one. We mentioned the Sounds. We mentioned yesterday they won 9, 8, and 10 over at Durham. What we did not mention, and again, come on Main Street today, Main Street Sports today, good things happen. Brewer Hicklin started the Sound scoring with a home run early, had a 2-run homer in the 9th to put the Sounds ahead 7-6, and eventually forced extra innings before they won 9-8 yesterday morning. So Brewer Hicklin is on a little bit of a roll here all of a sudden, and we're going to take credit for it.
Hey, like you said, come on the show. Good things happen.
There we go. Not David. Ryan Weathers getting the start for the Miami Marlins today, and I think that game might be on right now. Actually, that was a 2:10 start, I think, on the MLB Network as the Marlins are playing the Dodgers. Where are we at? Bunch of day games today. Yeah, 1-1, middle of the 4th. Between the Marlins and Dodgers, and Ryan Weathers got the start right now. He's given up an earned run, 2 hits, 3 strikeouts through 3 innings. So keeping an eye on him and that. And Wade, have you seen the video clip from last night's Dodgers Marlins game where the Dodgers starter was declared to be on no hit alert from the MLB Network's Greg Amsinger in the studio prior to the game pronounced a no-hit alert for Yamamoto. I cannot remember his first name. And
escapes me too.
Yeah, hang on. Let's see if we can come up with that. Because Jazz Chisholm laid all of that to rest on the first pitch. Yoshinobu Yamamoto was declared to be on no-hit alert. Jazz Chisholm with a first pitch solo homer. No-hitter gone, shutout gone, but Yamamoto went 8 innings in an 8-2 Dodger victory. So, yeah.
Yeah,
but it
the
was
no-hitter
not a
alert, the last one pitch is
one pitch. Yeah.
My favorite one as a broadcaster is and Chip may stoop to this level, I don't know, but when you give up a hit on the very first bat, really if it's on the first pitch or second, you say, well, there goes the no-hitter.
There goes the no-hitter. Absolutely.
If you're a color commentator's not really all the way tuned in, it'll throw them for a loop every now and again. So that's good. That's good. It's the press box humor, is
exactly
its own thing, right?
Yep. I mean, a baseball press box, I think, is different from a lot of other places just because, you get so many of the usual suspects that are there so often and the schedule is so long. And so there develops like you said, a little press box humor there that I'm not sure you run into anywhere else, but it's a different breed for sure. Astros at New York tonight, 6:05. Boston at the Braves tonight at 6:20. And I guess with all of the postponements, we may actually get to watch our teams play tonight, Wade. So
yeah, may get a chance to check these guys out, and man, it'd be nice to see them do well. And I'm checking through Mo. I was just checking here. He might pitch tonight, but I've been keeping tabs on former Giles County ace Ben Peoples, who's with the Montgomery Biscuits.
Right.
Hoping to see him in person. They're coming up to Huntsville in 2 weeks. His last start was on May the 2nd. He's been pitching pretty well. He struck out at least 4 batters in every outing this year, and he's got a 1-1 record, but he's going at least 5 innings every game, and he's not in the top 10 of the Rays prospects by any means, but he's definitely in their top 40. And kind of keeping tabs on Ben as he's a hard throwing kid, and he's added a really nice breaking ball. And so he's probably going to start either tonight or tomorrow. I try and check his game log every few days. And his last start was on May the 2nd. So he might be tuned up for the Biscuits tonight. And I mentioned it'd be sweet, obviously, if he got in that Rickwood Classic game we were talking about earlier this week.
That would be nice. It's always nice when you got a local kid that you can keep an eye on and root for like that. So best of luck to young Ben. Let's take a break here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. When we come back, Wade and I will reach into the grab bag, and there's some interesting items in there. Stay tuned when we return to the Lee Company studios after this.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers, putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Hour number 2 of Wild and Wacky Wednesday here on Main Street Sports Today begins now. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Wade Neely. We're coming to you from the Lee Company studios of our own homes. And in our final segment today, Wade and I will be bringing you the weirdest, wildest, and wackiest stories from across the globe. So be sure and stay tuned for that. Right now, we're reaching into the grab bag and starting with a topic that has been a point of discussion for maybe a year, maybe two, but really kind of picked up speed as so much has behind Caitlin Clark. Friend of the show, Teresa Walker of the Associated Press, has an article. WNBA to begin full-time charter flights this season, commissioner says. The league is going to commit $50 million over the next 2 years to provide full-time charter flight services for the teams during the season in a move that addresses years of player safety concerns. As soon as we can get planes in places, according to Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. So, you know, it's hard to believe that the WNBA has been traveling commercial, but clearly they have. And, you know, all of the accessibility to those athletes has gone along with that. I guess apparently there was an issue with Brittany Griner being not physically accosted, but certainly approached by someone when she returned to the league last year. And there have just been different issues like that, you know, dealing with, you know, going to the carousel at airports and picking up their luggage, you know, layovers and changing flights and that kind of thing. All the stuff that you just don't really expect a professional athlete plying their trade to have to deal with.
No, and, you know, I'm reading this sentence here, or a graph from Teresa Walker, and I'm not sure which of these, every time I read a new one, I think it's worse than the other, but I'm not sure which of these is the worst. long security lines, the fact you got to have your bodyguards with you, cramped leg room, or layovers. I don't know which one of those is the worst because all of those are miserable anyway. Well, except for the bodyguards. I usually don't run into that situation too often.
Yeah, we kind of fill out NA, not available.
Not available.
Yeah.
So I don't know which one of those is the worst of that situation, but none of them are good, and none of them are pretty much indicative of virtually any other major professional sports league. And I'm kind of like you. I'm really a little shocked, as much as this thing has kind of been, I don't want to say subsidized, but definitely helped and pushed along and by the NBA from its inception. I'm kind of surprised that has not kind of been addressed and really resolved up until now. It's kind of another barrier. It stinks that is a quote unquote, threshold that we've had to cross, but it's at least another step in the right direction for this thing.
Sure. And, a lot of, excuse me, I guess naysayers, for lack of a better phrase, would tell you that, the WNBA is not making the money that the NBA or other professional leagues are making. And I get that. I understand that. At the same time, I just feel like there are things that could be done that if you can afford to do them, you should do them, regardless of what the financial ramifications are necessarily. I don't think charter flights are going to put the WNBA out of business, So this is, like you said, I feel like it's something that has needed to have been addressed prior to now. And I don't know necessarily what the tipping point has been. I don't know that it is or is not Caitlin Clark. I'm not going to say whether it is or is not, but I'm sure that the players currently in the league would tell you better late than never, and aren't as worried about what brought it about as they are pleased that it has come about. Kind of reminds me of the line from Grease Lightning. Don't ask me where I got them, just be glad I got them. But previously, charter flights. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, Mo, hypothetical. You and I are about the same height. This was weighing on me here when I was reading this. Say we have first crack on the plane. Which seat are you taking?
I'm probably taking an aisle seat. I don't necessarily have to have an exit row, but if it's available, I would probably take it. But I'm definitely going aisle.
So you would potentially first one on the plane, regardless of the height of anybody behind you, take an exit row seat.
Sure, it's every man for themselves.
Okay, I'm assuming it's like a Southwest where it's just open seating. Only reason I asked that. Came back from Orlando from a athletic directors convention with Jeff Bain one time. And there's a gentleman who's a former Hall of Fame football coach by the name of Lou Holtz. You familiar with the height of this man, right? We're on a Southwest flight. Any seat you want. Instead of sitting very front row, very front seat, Lou Holtz makes a beeline straight for the aisle seat. And I watched about 10 different people, 6 foot plus, kind of just throw a little stare at him as they walked by later when the seat was filled. So I thought that was interesting that my man took the exit row seat. He could have anyone in the plane. He went straight for the exit row. I guess that's a veteran move from Lou.
All 5'7" of him, huh? Yeah. Lou, not very imposing physically for sure. But
and for what's right, I would do the same too. I'm either going to take the front row or I'm taking the aisle. I'm with you, partner.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking aisle. I won't necessarily take the front, but I'm going aisle. Now, I may go all the way to the back just because I don't feel like being bothered by folks crossing over me and that kind of thing, to be honest. I don't necessarily mind being in the back because as long as I'm on the plane, I don't really care. And
the good news at the back, you don't have to wait at the end. Everybody's got to exit, and once they exit, you can bounce.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not in a hurry. I'm as long as I get where I'm going, I'm good. So I don't have to be up front and be the first one off or anything like that. But as it mentions in this article, 6'4" Brianna Stewart of the New York Liberty having to squeeze past travelers on commercial flights to get into her window seat.
That's what I'm saying. Lou Holtz took Brianna Stewart's window seat, and she's cramped up, and he's kicked back, reading his magazine, doing whatever Lou's doing.
Stretching out at 5'7". Yeah,
man.
WNBA players also had to not only retrieve their own luggage, but endure travel days that could stretch 13 hours with delays. When you are, a finely tuned athlete, and trust me, those women are, 13 hours of travel, that messes with anybody. That's nuts.
Absolutely. And then, going on the road and then turning around and playing a game in short order. And then maybe even, God forbid, doing a back-to-back.
Charter flights will allow WNBA players to go through private air terminals, straight to buses or their own cars when returning home. Avoiding layovers also will help with recovery between games, which is even more crucial with this season's schedule around the Olympics. So, more details to come on this, obviously, but this is certainly welcome news for the WNBA and for folks that enjoy that sport, I think. So, more news from the WNBA or from former WNBA players. If you were wondering what Candace Parker was going to do in retirement, well, wonder no more. She's been named president of Adidas Women's Basketball, which I feel like is a new position with the shoe company. I can't really find otherwise, but her role will involve overseeing the women's basketball product line, spearheading further development of the brand's storied women's roster. She will drive innovative strategies and empowering initiatives to push the game further while inspiring the next generation of hoopers to dream bigger and reach higher under her guidance. Probably couldn't come up with anybody better to do that than Candace Parker. She became the first woman to have a signature shoe when she did so in 2010 with Adidas. I think she's worn them since high school. So that's been a long-standing relationship between the shoe company and Candace. And this would seem like a great next step for her.
Yeah, I'd say so. Staying loyal to the brand, and talk about a little 1-2 punch. Hey, I'm hanging up one of the greatest to ever do it, but don't worry, I got some big news coming. She didn't even, I don't think, tease it as much as she probably could have or did even. And then bam, this news comes out. Very cool.
And when she announced her retirement, she made it clear that she not wanted to, but intended to, continue to influence the game. And that's certainly going to be the case with her involvement with this. So for everything she's done off the floor, for everything she's done on the floor, what she's getting ready to do will be just as impactful, you would feel like. So certainly going to be something to keep an eye on. As the talk again from the last 2-3 weeks was about Caitlin Clark getting a signature shoe and the number of people that don't. You kind of feel like this is going to get addressed here forthwith. So, great news there. Wade, if I start a sentence with former Ole Miss quarterback.
Careful. Careful.
Chad Kelly has been suspended by the Canadian Football League.
Oh,
and a lot of people in Giles County go, whew.
Yeah. There's another former Ole Miss quarterback that's from Giles County that's also been in the headlines for a variety of reasons. But yeah,
not lately.
Well, I guess headlines maybe not. Definitely been in the Twitter streets. How about that?
Oh, he stays in them Twitter streets.
We love
He's
you, Dr. Bo, but man.
Oh, good Bo, bad Bo, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Chad Kelly, the reigning most valuable player of the Canadian Football League, by the way, has been suspended for the upcoming preseason and a minimum of another 9 games, according to CBS Sports, after an investigation into allegations by a former assistant coach. Been accused in a lawsuit earlier of making unwanted romantic advances and threatening comments to a former strength and conditioning assistant employed by the Toronto Argonauts. After a third-party investigation, it was concluded that Kelly violated the league's gender-based violence policy. In addition to his suspension, the quarterback will be required to undergo confidential assessments by an independent expert and attend mandatory counseling sessions conducted by a gender-based violence expert. Kelly led Toronto to a 16-2 finish last year, totaling 31 touchdowns, led the team to the division finals of the playoffs. And Chad Kelly, I'll just let you Google him, but this is kind of the latest in a string of intriguing events for him, going back to before he came to Oxford, actually. So he's, as you said, he's kind of been in those streets as well.
Yeah, he's been around. I know you were wondering, Mo. I don't know what they exactly were before, but Toronto is now no longer the betting favorite to win the CFL.
It didn't have anything to do with this news, did it?
Well, maybe. I'm reading a loose article that says the Argos were expected to be a real challenger once again this season, period. That was until Kelly's 9-game suspension. Toronto is now, like I mentioned, second favorite. The Blue Bombers, Winnipeg, is a small favorite. So Toronto is still in the mix, but obviously you lose an MVP for 9 games. I mean, that's no matter what league you're in, that's got to impact you a fair amount, I would think, right?
That's going to leave a little bit of a mark, you would think. So yeah. Haven't kept up as much with Canadian Football League stuff as maybe I should. So,
right, when in doubt, if there's any news or anything that ever pops up, go to the betting odds, and that'll tell you what folks really think. And that's why I kind of like checking stuff like that for Vegas, just because they're unbiased a lot of times, you know. And there's always you can kind of cut to the chase. Who should win this game? You know, what does this impact for the series? I don't know. Just go to Vegas. They're smarter than me. There's a reason they have those fancy buildings out there, and they keep getting taller every year, it seems like. So
no doubt. The Argonauts did announce some good news over the weekend. If you are a Vanderbilt football fan in particular, you will recognize this name, MAREN Lewis. We just happen to be friends on Facebook, and I saw his post. Malu will be joining the Argonauts coaching staff as defensive backs coach, the former third-round pick of the Buccaneers in 2010. He played 3 seasons with the Bucs before ending his pro career. Played both in British Columbia and Edmonton of the CFL, and began coaching in the Atlanta high school ranks, and has made his way back to the CFL, where again he will be defensive backs coach and special teams assistant coach for the Chad Kelly-less Toronto Argonauts. So congrats to him. It's always good to see those guys, you know, get back into the game at you know, its highest level when they have that opportunity. So looking forward to seeing what he and the Argonauts can do for 9 games before Chad gets back.
Yeah, hold down the fort till Swag Kelly gets back.
There we go. Let's take a break from the Lee Company studios here on Main Street Sports today. When we come back, we will be joined by college softball analyst MAREN Angus COOMBS to tell us a little bit more about that 14-inning affair to open SEC tournament play earlier today. We'll talk about that and more when we come back. Stay with us.
Wild horses are coming to Franklin. The Mustang Heritage Spectacular. 4 days of celebrity freestyle, liberty training, trick riding, and extreme Mustang makeover. Plus the shopping. Over 100 vendor spaces with clothing, food, home goods, and things you can't find anywhere else. All that and celebrity signings at a music stage too. June 20th through 23rd at Williamson County Ag Expo Park. Don't miss a moment with a weekend pass. MustangHeritageFoundation.org for tickets.
Hello, race fans, and welcome to Nashville Superspeedway.
That's right, guitars and fast cars right here in Music City. This summer, NASCAR is back at the Nashville Superspeedway. Get your tickets now to watch your favorite driver take on the 1.33 miles of concrete chaos. Visit NashvilleSuperspeedway.com to lock in your spot June 28th through the 30th for the Ally 400 race weekend.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handlers supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Wild and Wacky Wednesday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton, joined by Wade Neely as we come to you from the Lee Company studios of our respective homes. We are now joined by Sports Illustrated Fan Nation's MAREN Angus COOMBS. Ignore that second O.
That's exactly right.
There's only, you see two O's in her last name, but you only pronounce one of them, MAREN Angus COOMBS. So we've addressed that. Now we're going to address this. The Dodgers kicked our butts this weekend, MAREN. We all saw it. So there's really not a whole lot of need to talk about it. But if you want to,
I'm more than happy to.
We can, but it doesn't change anything. It's 3 games in May. I'm not going to tell you the same. I'm not going to tell you the same thing won't happen in October. I'm not. But
I was
3 games in May.
expecting it to be a lot closer, Mo.
Well, that 4-3-11 on Friday night certainly
So
could have
does my
gone either
dog.
way. Yeah, your dog did too. What's your dog's name? Isn't your dog some Dodger related name?
Her name is Ribby, RBI.
Okay. Baseball related or
That's
softball.
right, Ribby.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna be loud when I'm talking on a radio?
Of course. I mean,
That's how them dogs are.
Right?
Been quiet all this time, but now
Exactly.
she's got something to say.
Y'all are gonna have to go on a walk with me through my kitchen to take her outside.
Well, if you can manage both,
I can.
I know you are multi-talented.
I try to be.
Ma'am, we brought you on to talk a little softball as the SEC tournament started up with a play-in game yesterday. Ole Miss knocking off Kentucky in a matchup of the number 12 and number 13 teams, because the Southeastern Conference only has 13 softball teams this year, and we won't get off in the weeds on that. But Alabama LSU 14 innings, really throwing off the entire schedule for today. Obviously. What did you think of that?
That was epic. Oh my gosh. Honestly, though, the first thing I thought of was, oh gosh, 14 innings for the first game of the day. This thing is going to go late into tonight.
Yeah. And no time for a nap, obviously. But what was that? Was that 8? That was 8 and 9, right?
Yes.
Because LSU will play Tennessee.
LSU will play Tennessee.
As you look at that field, that bracket, that tournament, what are your thoughts? What are your expectations? I mean, is it Tennessee and everybody else, or what are you looking for out of that?
Initially that was my thought. However, Florida is playing really well right now. So I think it's kind of Tennessee, Florida, and then everyone else. Man, the SEC this year just isn't. I know they're going to get a lot of teams in because they are the SEC, but it's kind of weird. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but Tennessee is just far and away the best team in the SEC. And I just feel like in years past, we've had a couple of good SEC teams and then everyone else.
Yeah, and traditionally LSU has been one of those teams.
Yeah.
And
that's
yet
right.
they had to fight for their lives, obviously, today. After coming into the tournament as the 8th seed. As you look at it, I mean, there just doesn't seem to be a whole lot to prevent a Tennessee-Florida championship game on Saturday.
No, I don't think so. And I feel like as we watch, like I actually turned off the Ole Miss game that's on right now. And there are other games on. But I feel like to start the day with a 14 inning affair, that a pitcher's duel kind of sets the bar pretty high. And and then everything else kind of has to catch up to that.
Right. And Maren, watching softball, if you aren't really, into the game, the idea of a starting pitcher going 14 innings is just counter to everything you know about baseball, for sure. The LSU starter, I think she threw over 200 pitches.
208 to be exact. 208 pitches.
You know more. You know more about softball than I do. I know a little. You know a lot.
Watch her throw tomorrow.
Even that's what I was going to ask you. Even for softball, is 208 too much?
No. She's going to be sore. 100%. She's going to be sore. However, it is not going to make her not want to throw tomorrow if they need her. There's just something about the postseason where these pitchers are able to bounce back quick, and they're not gonna let something like that keep them out long. I think if this was a regular season game after throwing 208 pitches, we probably wouldn't see her for a couple of days. But I think all bets are off at this point.
You made an interesting statement just then. I don't think this is going to make her not want to throw.
Yeah.
Should it be her call?
I think it was her call today. Watching the post-game interview, and also the SEC hosts were talking to the Arkansas head coach, Courtney Deifel, who actually said she spoke with Beth Tarina after the game and asked her about the pitch count. And Beth Tarina said, I didn't want to know the pitch count. I didn't ask about the pitch count. We weren't thinking about it.
Plausible deniability?
Sounds like it.
So, I mean,
Maren, you've been around enough baseball. If a kid threw 108 pitches in a baseball game, there would be somebody screaming for the coach's job.
Yeah.
I mean, now I know the motion and all of that, but like you said, just the toll that it takes on your body. 208 pitches, and she's likely to start tomorrow against Tennessee.
I don't know if she starts tomorrow, but I can guarantee you she'd probably want the ball. And
again, that comes back to my last question. Do you give it to her?
If she feels good and has a good warm up and you do not see any signs of fatigue, you can give her the ball. However, if she starts warming up, because you got to think warm up, that's another 100 or so pitches.
And at some point, somebody has to be the adult in the room, right?
Yeah. I don't see, but I don't.
I mean, I don't know. I'm probably being devil's advocate in a major way right here, because so much more of my background is baseball. I don't know, but it just feels like 14 innings, 208 pitches, and 208 high stress pitches.
Yeah.
Feels like a lot.
However, you're looking at it as 14 innings. Okay, well, that's equivalent to 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
Could have thrown 2 games back to back on a doubleheader. Like throwing 100 pitches in a game is nothing, but throwing 100 pitches for baseball is something.
Right.
So I know she said in her post-game interview she felt tired, which, I mean, of course, who wouldn't feel tired? But
it sounds like it was pretty hot down there too.
Yeah. So, do I expect her to start tomorrow? I may not expect her to start tomorrow, but I do think she'll be available.
My question would be about in terms of effectiveness. At what point, after throwing so many the day before, do you kind of maybe lose some of your stuff, or is that kind of just a case by case deal too? Some pitchers, they can just pick right back up where they left off, even after a high number.
Absolutely, case by case. Because you could see like the Alabama starting pitcher Kayla Beaver lost control of her pitches at around the 6th inning, and her pitches stopped working. So you look at the other side, and you've got Berzon, and you've got the entire LSU pitching staff right there. Like, it's working, everything's working, and it didn't slow down. None of her pitches stopped working the whole game.
Makes sense, I guess, especially, in a single elimination win or go home situation, as the entire Southeastern Conference softball tournament is. So, and if you're the number 8 seed going in, like you said, the SEC is going to get a boatload of teams in, but obviously the better you finish in this tournament, the better your seeding situation is going to be when the NCAA announces its field, I guess, over the weekend. But So from that standpoint, it's a big game for LSU. Their first game out of the box here at Auburn, but
that
208
game,
pitches.
that game specifically, I think they were playing for a regional host. So I do believe that LSU will most likely host a regional instead of Alabama, which is really hard for me to say because I feel like Alabama should host regardless just because of ticket sales.
The NCAA doesn't look at that, Maren.
Oh, of course not.
Ole Miss trailing number 5 seed Missouri 3-0 in the top of the fourth. The next game is number 7 Georgia and host 10th seed Auburn, listed to start at 4. That ain't happening.
No.
And then in the nightcap, it's Mississippi State, the number 6 seed, and 11 seed South Carolina to close out the day. But again, it really feels like the real stuff doesn't start till tomorrow. Tennessee and LSU in the opener at 10 tomorrow on the SEC Network, followed by Arkansas, the number 4 seed, and the Missouri Ole Miss winner. Number 2 Florida takes on the Georgia Auburn winner, and the Mississippi State South Carolina winner faces Texas A&M in tomorrow's nightcap. As you said, it really feels like Tennessee, Florida in Saturday's championship game. Who keeps that from happening?
Ooh. Mississippi State. That would be my dark horse in this tournament. I think they got off to a really hot start and then had a very long cold streak and have started to heat back up. Their pitching is incredible. They have the power at the plate. They've got they have the speed on the bases. They have all of the makings of a team who could spoil somebody's tournament. And if they're able to string it all together, then I think we could see the Bulldogs make a run.
There was a slight agreement in the background. I heard.
Woof, absolutely, yeah.
You put her outside, you can still hear.
Maren, last year we heard a lot about Tennessee. Obviously, we heard a lot about Kiki Malloy. She's been relatively quiet this year. I think she was injured earlier this year. What is it though about that team that makes them the prohibitive favorite this week?
I think it starts in the circle. I mean, anytime you have a pitcher that throws 70 plus, gives you an opportunity to win. The pitching staff at Tennessee has been one of the best in the country this year. And then you look at the lineup that surrounds them, and they've got plenty of run support. Whether Kiki Malloy is in the lineup or not, Boo Gibson is a power hitter. You've got Taylor Pannell, who just was named SEC Player of the Week for the series against Kentucky. They've got all of the makings of a World Series team, and I think this is a World Series team. They will play in Oklahoma City, barring any type of implosion. There's nobody in their way.
So if Tennessee loses, they beat themselves, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting because obviously there's been a lot of talk about the SEC expanding to 16 teams for next year, and most of it has revolved around football. Does Tennessee need to win this thing before Texas and Oklahoma get it?
Absolutely. Texas is the best team in the country. Oklahoma is right there with them on a good day. I don't know how Oklahoma will be next year, but Texas is the best team in the country. And if I'm looking at if I'm looking at the SEC next year, I kind of make the best team in it right now. Tennessee is the third best team
behind Texas and Oklahoma.
Behind Texas and Oklahoma.
Yeah, it kind of puts a exclamation point on the fact, and we've discussed other sports, obviously volleyball and a few others sometimes slip off your radar, but adding those two programs is going to be massive, and softball, of course, is going to be something that if you haven't been paying attention to those two teams for whatever reason, when you finally start tuning into SEC play next year, it seems like a lot of folks are going to be in for a huge surprise.
Yeah. I think your average fan will be very surprised. I think your fans that pay attention are expecting it.
Oklahoma's only won the last how many WCWSs now?
They won back-to-back. They've won the last. Oh, have they won 3?
I think they might have won 3.
Are they going for 4 in a row? I don't have it in front of me.
Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Right.
But
well,
regardless, it's certainly
it's enough.
Yeah. They and coming soon to a Southeastern Conference stadium near you are the Sooners. So, yeah, Tennessee's got their work cut out for them going past this year and going past this conference tournament. Sounds like. Yeah,
I'll be curious to see who lands in the Knoxville Regional. I think looking at distance and RPIs, I think once you get to the 2, 3, 4 seeds, the RPI doesn't matter as much. They're just going to put teams there that are close enough to bust there, which could put Miami, Ohio in Knoxville, which they have been there before. And they're the best home run hitting team in the country. So that would be interesting to see a matchup with that and one of the best pitching staffs. We'll see.
Maren, I was today years old when I learned that Duke softball is actually pretty good. What makes them special as they're sitting there in the top 5 in the latest batch of rankings heading into the postseason?
Duke has been an interesting program from the get-go. They kind of in their first year, it looked like the postseason would have been a possibility at some point, but they have steadily gotten better every single year. And it's one of those unique programs where, you have to have total buy-in just from the academic standpoint. The academics just to get into Duke for a non-basketball / football player is so incredibly hard. And I say that because I went there the first year and actually found out that, you have to score, I think, at least a 23 on your ACT, whereas basketball and football is like 19. So, you have to have your test scores, you have to have your GPA, you have to, all of it, and then on top of that, you only have 11.7 scholarships in softball. So imagine, going to a private university like Duke and you don't, it's expensive, number one. So if you don't have the academics, your athletic money is not going to cover your full tuition.
Duke and Clemson started softball at about the same time, did they not, Maren?
Very close. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're Clemson's the same deal. That's a athletic department that knows how to put on a show, man.
Yeah. And the success that both of them have had in softball in a short period of time has been, really impressive to kind of watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Clemson brought in the right coach. And I think he was able, with his experience from being at Stanford, from being Team USA, he knew what he was looking for, and he was able to create a winning program in no time. I mean, Clemson is, I think, they've kind of set the standard for these schools coming in and creating new programs, especially in a Power 5 conference.
Yeah. Oklahoma has, in fact, won the last 3 national championships.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
they also won in 13, 16, and 17.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2000. So
yeah,
that's what's coming.
Powerhouse.
Yeah, that's what's coming to the SEC. I don't think Texas has had that kind of recent success, but as you say, they are right now the best team in the country. So 25 should be fun. So enjoy it while you can, Tennessee, here in 24. Let's go ahead and get it done. But MAREN, ANGUS, COOMBS.
COOMBS.
I did it again. I'm sorry. MAREN, ANGUS, COOMBS.
Ignore
that. Ignore one of those zeros. O's. Joining us on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Tennessee. MAREN, may want to try to get you back on once the field of 64, 68 is announced, and kind of break down the NCAA tournament as we go. So stay close to your phone. Tell Ruby thanks for chilling out, and we'll catch up.
Finally laid down. Yeah. I'll tell her you said thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk to you.
Awesome. Thank you, MAREN.
Hey, when we come back to Main Street Sports today, it's the final segment, which means it's time to get wild and wacky. Wade and I will give you the top weirdest, wildest, and wackiest stories from across the globe in the final segment from the Lee Company Studios. Stay with us. I'm Maurice Patton, and on Main Street Sports today, we bring you the voices of your favorite teams from preps to pros. Otherwise known as the VOT, Mike Keith.
The bottom line is we can teach Will Levis woke.
I just don't know who's going to work with you on your base stealing now that EY's gone.
Well, that has nowhere to go but up. And I was just like, oh, guys, not again. Can we just bury that, burn that footage, and not bring it back?
No.
No. Thank you. We'll keep it going past the All-Star break, and looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season plays out. There's always a good story to tell.
Can you guess where I am today, Mo? Where am I?
It's not Reese Smith Field, is it?
Yeah.
Because anytime you play Chicago, you want to win. That's just
you got that right, and
that's bottom line.
Be a buzz.
When you're walking the dog, you keep the bags that you need for the dog in the bag, and you don't even have to wear it. You can just hold it, which is what I do when I walk the dog. So
I think the fanny pack probably needed a little rebranding.
It did. It really did.
On your show logo, we've got to get a puck in there. There's a basketball. There's a football. There's a baseball. Maybe not a puck. How about Mo brandishes a hockey stick?
Tune in daily at 2 p.m. on Main Street Media TV.
It's the final segment of Wild and Wacky Wednesday here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Wade Neely. I'm going to give you the weirdest, wildest, and wackiest stories from across the globe. And Wade, I'm going to start it off. Scrolling through Twitter as we are wont to do, I came across a story that's less than 10 minutes old, apparently.
Ooh.
And it's right here from the world of sports, actually. Paul Skeens is going to make his first major league start on Saturday for the Pittsburgh Pirates. They have called up the former LSU standout, their top pitching prospect, a top 10 major league prospect, doesn't turn 22 until the end of this month, but he has 45 strikeouts, 8 walks, and a 0.99 earned run average in 7 starts, with AAA Indianapolis. So, finally, former LSU standout Paul Skeens is going to ply his trade at the major league level with the Pirates, getting the start on Saturday for them. Not sure who they play or where that is. It's at PNC Park. That's good. He's making his first start in front of the home crowd in the second game, I think, of the series with the Cubs. So there's something to look forward to. And,
a little divisional game, show off the nails a little bit.
And this, to me, fits into Wild and Wacky from the standpoint of I have no idea why it's taken this long, other than it's Pittsburgh.
I'm sure there is somebody that has some sort of reason. We'll figure out if that's.
Hopefully it'll come to light here at some point what that reason was, because I would love to know. Because, again, he's been killing at the AAA level from day one. So should be fun to watch. Now, on to the more conventional Wild and Wacky Wednesday portion of Wild and Wacky Wednesday. What you got?
All right, I got 2 stories, one both animal related. Pick one or 2.
I'm going to pick 2.
Okay, I was hoping you would say that.
All right.
Headline stands alone. Man says emotional support alligator, known for its big social media audience, has gone missing. All right, so immediately I got a lot of questions. Emotional support alligator, not usually the type that you would hear. But let's dig in here and let's see what we got. This comes from the AP out of Brunswick, Georgia, which is a cousin of Florida, as we've seen over the years in terms of headlines. Pennsylvania man who credits an alligator named Wally for helping relieve his depression for nearly a decade is searching for the reptile after it went missing during his vacation to the coast of Georgia. Joe Henney has thousands of social media users devoted to following his emotional support alligator, Wally, the cold-blooded companion. Pictures online. This guy is 5.5 feet long, and he's hugging him like a dog or hugging like a teddy bear. I don't really like any of that, but the fact that I really don't like is that if you're a Brunswick, Georgia native, now all of a sudden you're already probably on high alert a little bit with strange animals down there. Now you got to worry about a alligator that's probably mad because his owner is now gone. As attached as that thing presumably might have been, now he's on the loose without his man.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, if he's an emotional support alligator, then dude uses him for emotional support. I'm sure that providing emotional support is kind of important to the alligator, so he's kind of out there rudderless a little bit. That's an unstable alligator.
That is not what you want.
No, that there's nothing appealing about an especially unstable alligator.
Nope. And I'm hoping this story has a happy ending. Heaven forbid somebody in the town finds him and doesn't return him, because that would just be cold-blooded. That's all I gotta say. I watched the roast of Tom Brady last night, so the zingers are on the tip of my tongue right now.
Well played, sir. Well played. I have to tip my cap for that one. It's a shame we don't have the rim shots loaded up, because that certainly would have been deserving. I've had enough of these snakes on these planes. Airport security officers in Miami found a slithering surprise last week. A bag of snakes hidden in a passenger's pants. Wade, you remember we had a article where a guy was smuggling in a snake in a single snake from Canada a few weeks ago? Didn't we have that?
Yeah.
This guy had a bag of snakes, a small bag of, I guess, small snakes in his pants while going through checkpoint at Miami International. Found in what appeared to be a sunglasses bag. And somebody's got this snake, as I think Mark just showed it, the picture of the snake in customs, somebody with customs, I guess, hand.
No, thank you.
There is no way. I have no idea what that snake is, but I'm from the school of thought, and if you're an innocent snake, I'm sorry, but I'm from the school of thought that the only good snake is a dead snake. But they were apparently in this Oakley bag. No, sir.
I wonder what was going through the mind right there. Hey, I'm just gonna put them in my Oakley bag here. They'll never
and stick them in my pants. Yeah. There are a lot of things that you might have to worry about me doing, but that ain't one of them. TSA said the snakes were turned over to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. Alive, I guess. So that's unreal. I'm not smuggling any snakes in my pants or anywhere else. I'm not smuggling any snakes.
No. I'm running, and that goes back to our question of where you sit on the plane. I'm just going to keep my eyes out for anybody with an Oakley bag the next time, and I'm probably just going to avoid them or sit as far away as possible.
Yeah. I'm not with the snakes at all. So, wait, did you see this article about the woman who would not talk to authorities when they pulled her over during a routine traffic stop in Copenhagen?
No, I did not think Copenhagen was going to be the location you mentioned. I thought you were going to say Lewisburg for some reason, but go ahead.
A routine traffic stop on a highway south of Denmark's capital turned into an unusual standoff as a 26-year-old woman locked her car and refused to speak to the police officer who had pulled her over. Originally pulled over for talking on a handheld cell phone while driving and not wearing a seatbelt. So I guess they have hands-free requirements in Denmark as well. Police also noted that the tires on the car were worn out. There was no rear window, and the vehicle's insurance had expired. To open the car, the officers had to call a mechanic. She just was not going to unlock the doors. Once that was done, they detained the woman, took her to a nearby hospital for a blood test, found 2 folding knives leading to additional charges. Oof. I thought Denmark was safe.
Yeah.
It's typically pretty laid back over there.
She was just...
I wonder how that blood test came out.
Yeah, I think we know the answer.
I think that would tell us a lot if we knew the results of that blood test.
Hey Mo, how about this? You had us in Europe. I gotta bring our readers up to speed. I know everybody's curious. What's going on in France? If you're going over for the Olympics, sometimes French restaurants get a reputation as being slow, but not all the time, because it turns out that servers of a certain town in France took part a couple weeks ago in what's called the Course des Cafés. And this is a 1.2 speed walking race where folks are wearing traditional white shirts, black trousers, neatly tied aprons, even bow ties. They carry a tray loaded with a croissant, a full water glass, an empty coffee cup, and they tried to get around the 1.2 mile loop as quick as they could. That's over in France, folks.
That sounds interesting. Also sounds wet. That's going to do it for Wild and Wacky Wednesday. That's going to do it for Main Street Sports today, here presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Come back with us 2 o'clock tomorrow. We'll see you then.